Happy Mother's Day, everyone. We want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today because we will be celebrating all the amazing mothers in our lives. And in order to do that, we have collected a special group of ladies. And we just want to tell you a little bit about what we have going on. We have Vicki Carlson here today. She's going to talk about her joys and adventures of motherhood. And she's also just recently become a first-time grandmother. So, Vicki, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have kind of like phone a friend. We have Ma Colonel and Melissa Gillen. They are tuning in off of the phone. Guys, say hello to everybody.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
All right, so a little bit about Ma Colonel. Ma Colonel, over the weekend, just recently gave away her son in marriage. So for the first time in Blake's life, there is a woman more important than Ma Colonel. And we're going to see how she feels about all that. And Melissa, her son, her only son, Colton, is going to be 21 this year. And he is going to start an all new adventure in life. And Brandy is here, and she's going to talk about the joys of raising Dayton, who is currently working towards his PhD. So she's got a lot of bragging rights. And then we have Megan Kirk. And we just got to say, we're going to talk about Vicki Kirk today and how wonderful of a human being she was and what it means to Megan, her special bond with her mother. So once again, we just want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the joys, experiences, and adventures of being a mom. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about the impacts of mothers on their children. What do you think, guys, is the biggest impact that a mother has on her child?
The teachings. I think it's a lot of, we're getting away from it's the man's job, it's the woman's job.
Right.
And I think more moms are getting to where I know I did. I taught my children to cook, to clean, to do all the things. Their dad taught them, mechanics and carpentry and stuff like that to be. So I think it's, lending a hand towards teaching them, showing them different ways than just the man.
Yeah, just making them a little more well-rounded. And what about you, Brandy? Because for a lot of Dayton's life, you were a single parent. You played both roles as mother and father. How did that impact your bond with Dayton?
I mean, put me on the spot like that, Gina.
Come on, Brandy.
I mean, I was the one, take him to scouts and scout camp and all that stuff, and of course we had like other moms and stuff there too, but it's, I guess, mostly looked at as like a dad thing.
Dad thing. Did you ever have to have a hard talk with Dayton about that, or was it just something that went unspoken?
It was just, I guess, mostly unspoken because, I mean, he was 7,
Right.
So.
And that was difficult, I'm sure. Yeah. That was a very hard time for you and him, both.
Yeah.
What about you guys, Ma Colonel, Robin, and Melissa? What do you think about the impact that mothers have on their children and the bond that means?
So, one of the things that I share with all of these ladies is we're all boy moms, but I'm also a girl mom. And they are different, but they were taught the same, just like Vicki touched on. We worked hard on there not being gender roles in this house. I have a picture of Blake using a hand mixer. Well, I don't know, before a holiday, I don't remember what he was making. But I have the caption, he's learning to use kitchen power tools because he had been out in the shop with his dad, and, they were both excellent mechanics, and you can't, in my opinion, you can't find two better. But yet, Courtney, you can put her in a piece of farm equipment, she can drive a tractor. She knows how to drive a straight shift truck or car. She knows how to use pews that we don't want to talk about. But we worked real hard on not having gender roles. And you mentioned Blake getting married this weekend. He did. I don't feel like I gave him up. I just have to share him.
I knew I'd get you.
Yeah. I just have to share him, and we couldn't be happier. She's a great girl for him and perfect. And it kind of, it's now 3-on-2, so instead of, 1-on-1.
There you
so
go.
That was great.
I love it.
And I talked to him about getting married, that, how much the mom carries the mental load in the family. And like right now, it's just the two of them. But at some point, they're going to have kids. And we've all been through ball schedules, or in Melissa's case, race schedules, and then all of the appointments that go with it. But I also think as the mom, we're in a soft place to land.
That's good. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Melissa?
Well, with Colton being an only child, he has spent time with me doing the house stuff. And he has also spent time with his dad doing the mechanics, the construction, and learning all of that. So he's kind of gotten, just being the only child, gotten a feel for both of us. Unlike Robin, I do feel that the mother is the nurturer. And Colton is a daddy's boy. But when daddy's not happy with him, he came to mama. Because he knew that mama was going to be the soft-hearted one. Mama was going to be the one to love on him and make him feel better. So I think with that most generally that the mother is the nurturer and soft-hearted, as Robin said, and but he's gotten a feel of both sides of it.
I think so too. And, I can speak on experience. Colton has a very well-rounded outlook on life. And, that's attributed to the way he was raised by his parents.
Absolutely.
A very well-rounded outlook. And let's talk about you for a minute, Megan. And let's talk about the bond that you had with your mother and how that has affected you as an adult.
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? I love what Melissa and Robin said, because like with Robin saying, mothers are often a soft place to land. That's exactly what my mother was for me. She was my best friend. And then Melissa, talking about how, Colton goes to dad, but he always comes to mama.
Yeah.
We always do. That was the same situation for me, but it's kind of ironic, you guys are all mothers. I'm not. I just happen to have a phenomenal one. And she was my soft place to land. She was my best friend. And one thing I loved the most about my mom was she was so gentle. And no matter, what obstacles, any of her children faced, she was there to be supportive. She was there to give advice non-judgmentally. And she was just our safe place. And I think that's so important, and exactly how I want to be whenever I become a mother. Those are going to be very big shoes to fill. If I can only fill half of them, I'll be happy with that. But me and my mom, just like I know with all your kids, there is something special between a mom and a child. And sometimes you just can't put words to it, but we all have one, so we all really know. But yeah, my mother was just a bright light. Since her passing, I've been told so many beautiful stories about just kind acts that she did that no one else was aware of.
That's right.
It was just her nature. And so I have a lot of my dad in me, but I've got a lot of my mom in me. And I think it plays a big role as far as like my career as being a nurse. How I am at the bedside is all due to my mother's love.
Yep.
And the way she raised me.
I love it. That was beautiful. That was
Thank
beautiful.
you.
And that's something too. I mean, you're all mothers. I mean, and you want to be a mom.
Yes.
And but when you look back at your mothers, what is the one thing that you see in yourself when it comes to raising your children that is a direct reflection from your mom, Vicki?
Ooh-wee. Gosh, it's funny that you say that because the other day I said something. I'm like, oh my God, my mom just came out of my mouth. I guess it's the sayings, the mannerisms. She really tried to. My dad was a construction worker. He was gone all the time. I mean, she coached me in cheerleading. She would go to work at 3 a.m. so that she could be done by the time school was done, so she could be there to coach. Her and my best friend's mom were our co-sponsors, co-coaches, so to say. So she was selfless. I mean, absolutely selfless. She would do anything and everything.
Yes.
She had my sister's 5 years older than me, and then there's me, and then I have a younger brother who's about 14 months younger than me, so a little Irish twin there. But anyway, she selfless. I mean, absolutely selfless. And she would never bother anyone with her problems. She wanted to make sure that she was always there for us, and what mom should be, and what I try to be for my kids is selfless. And I hope they, realize that. But there's nothing I wouldn't do for them, and there was nothing she wouldn't do for me or my kids.
I love it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What about you, Brandy? When you were raising Dayton, and now that you have time to reflect back, what is something that you've seen inside yourself, or something you do or say as a mother that is directly from your mom, Terry?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I have no idea. Well, I mean, Dayton's an only child. I'm an only child. And mom raised me by herself. She went to school. I can remember we were living in College Courts at Murray, and she was going to school and raising me. It was wow.
And that is so parallel, because you went to school while you were raising Dayton. You achieved a bachelor's of science in business, right? Or it was associates in science. Yeah. And look how well all of that has turned out. That's amazing. What about you, Robin? What characteristic do you see in yourself that reminds you of your mother?
Well, I would say my mother is a better woman than I am. She's much nicer than I am. But
I can't believe that. Ma Colonel, you're one of the nicest people I've ever met.
I feel the same way, Robin.
Yeah, you just never hear really a negative thing about anybody I've ever heard. She was our biggest cheerleader, I would say. And she's really one of the strongest people I know, and she really underestimates herself when it comes to her strength. But she was our biggest cheerleader. She coached my softball when I was in elementary school. She pushed me to play basketball. We moved schools when I started 8th grade, and she pushed me to play there, and I did for a while. But it just wasn't the same for me after we moved. But he was really my biggest cheerleader. But we have a different relationship than some mamas have. I don't talk to my mother every single day on the phone, and some people are so surprised by that. But we just don't. But she's also 2 miles down the road. It's not like I can't.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, if she doesn't answer, I'll go look at it. But she's still working. It's not because she has to, but because she wants to. And she's in her 70s, and I won't tell how old. But she still works, and she loves what she does, and I can't complain on her. She takes great care of my dad and my sister and I. So we were kind of like I don't know that we were quite Irish twins, but we were 23 months apart. So she was dealing with their twins with us being so close together. But yeah, she's really our biggest cheer, and our kids cheer what we do.
That's awesome. And Melissa, as you reflect back on your parenting styles with Colton, what do you see in yourself that reminds you of Imogene?
Well, my mom was my best friend, and like Megan, I lost my mom when I was 26, and I just really didn't think I could live without my mom. But here I am, and but my mom didn't get to meet Colton. Colton didn't get to meet my mom, which I wish that he had of, because she was a wonderful woman. She was the hardest working woman I know.
Amen.
She worked full time in a factory, and she cleaned houses and churches, and she mowed yards, and but there's so much that I remember that I have tried to share with Colton. We always had a huge garden, and that was something that I really enjoyed, was planting the garden and harvesting the vegetables and stuff with my mom, and canning and freezing. And so back before Colton started racing, I had a big garden, and we did that together. And since he started, I didn't like weeds in my garden. And so once he started racing so much, I couldn't keep the weeds out, so the garden had to end. But he still remembers that, and but that's something that we did. And Gina, being my cousin, how the whole family had a love for animals.
That's true.
So I've tried to, instill that in him, even though we always had a dog in the house, and I wanted Colton to experience that. So that was my whole reasoning behind getting Diesel. However, I don't know that they have quite the relationship that I wanted them to have.
Not like Gina and Diesel.
No. There's no. I mean, it's like two brothers. They're both jealous of each other, of Mama, and but different things, in the nurture. My mom was such a loving woman. And like Megan said, if I could only be half of the mother and the woman that she was, I would be tickled to death. But I've already messed that up. There's no way because she never had a bad word to say about anything, and she was always so positive, going through many negative situations.
And isn't it amazing when you reflect back on your mom, the amount of strength and endurance they show? And the thing about that is each one of you sitting here today have shown so much strength and endurance throughout your lives. I mean, there is so many challenges in being a parent. There is so many challenges in losing a mother unexpectedly. And the ability to power through all of that and shine bright like a diamond, because every one of you truly does shine bright like a diamond. And the next thing I really want to talk about is traditions. What type of family traditions did you guys have, not only just with your moms, but that you have now with your children? Vicki?
Oh, well, several. Now, my dad was born in Denmark, so a lot of Danish traditions for us.
Okay, that's cool.
So, like, one per se is Christmas Eve. We always had a rice pudding with it was called a mentelgaven, which is gift in Danish, and you had an almond in the rice pudding, and the person that found the almond gets the mentelgaven.
Oh, okay.
So that was a big. I mean, I guess that will always stick out in my head. Gosh, traditions. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and then I moved to Wisconsin when I was 19. So, and that's where I met my husband, and that's where my kids were born. So, being in Chicago, our biggest traditions was Sunday football. I mean, I grew up watching footballs on Sundays, snacks, we did play poker, very friendly poker, but
Okay.
you know, it
All
was just family. So yeah, so many I couldn't even begin to say them all. With my kids, we just, I guess we don't have any traditions for little things here and there that you grew up doing that you kind of pass on. But I raised boys, so it's different because now they're with girlfriends. Of course, Jaden's now married with a kid, so I guess my traditions are kind of transitioning into letting them have their traditions and being included in that. So to say, because if you raise boys, you don't always get the text messages and the plans until about 5 minutes before. Oh yeah, Mom. By the way, so Jaden's a little better than Maddox, but as far as traditions, we did start one this Thanksgiving, especially because of Colin's coming. We started a white tablecloth on the dining room table, and every time we sit down for a dinner, we are signing our name and the date.
I love it.
So that was a big tradition that we started this year.
Beautiful.
So every holiday or every time we get together, we'll put it out and everybody sign their name. So
I love that.
That's a new tradition. So as far as traditions, there's so many. I probably could go on for days, but that's kind of the big one. So
I love that. I love it. What about you guys? What did the Kirk household have as a tradition?
Oh my goodness. Well, for me and Mom, and I don't know why it was just me, but every Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was the one that was voluntold that I would be there before everybody to help cook, and I can't cook. So I was the helper. So I was like, just give me direct instructions. I can mix up anything, but I was always there. So like every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, like we would take a picture together. Like I'd set up my camera and have us working and stuff. But one thing that we did when Michael was little, which is really funny, and I don't know why. Well, actually, no. So Dad bought a Santa costume.
Okay.
And Mom didn't think he did a good enough job because he stepped down to the basement and he did a lap around the house, and Michael missed it. And let's say he's like 5, and so Mom's like, "Well, I'm gonna do it again. That wasn't good enough." So I can remember so vividly, like her running around the house, and it had snowed. The perfect Christmas, and she's running around the house. Well, this Santa suit is huge on her. And so she is running and her pants are falling down. And she's pulling them up. And I remember my dad going, because Michael said something like, "Is that Mom?" And Dad goes, "Run faster, Santa! Run faster!" And we just will never forget that. And I don't think we did it after that because it was such an epic fail. And he didn't realize it was Mom, but he realized she disappeared for a little bit. But yeah, for me and Mom, it was just like being in the kitchen together, and just being her helping hands, because it was always on her shoulders. And so that's kind of been the weird transition is now, Dad's the one fixing everything.
And he's come a long way.
Oh my goodness. What a cook.
Yeah.
He should have pulled them cards out a long time ago.
Exactly.
I feel like it was a disservice to Mom. I mean, I told him Mom always made me zuppa Toscana. Like if I would get home from a travel assignment, she'd make my favorite dish from Olive Garden, the soup. And I told him it was probably 6 months after we had lost her, and he surprised me with it. And of course I cried, but I tasted it and I was like, I would never tell her this.
Don't say it.
This is so much better than hers. He was like, "You do not know how much that makes me feel good."
I love it.
And so yeah, and he's been so good. My mom would ask me like, "Okay, for your birthday, what do you want?" And I would say creme brulee because I loved how she made it. And so our first birthday, I opened up the fridge and there was creme brulee in there that my dad made. So it's kind of different from you guys, but like my dad's now trying to carry on those same traditions.
And that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. What about your family, Brandy? What's a tradition that you guys have going on?
I guess when Dayton went off to college, and so when he would come home, when he's home, we try to go to Maggie's Jungle Golf.
Oh
And
yeah.
have a little friendly competition. Yeah, and even though he's going to be 25 this year, we still try to go to the Discovery Park of America.
Yeah.
Of course, then like if there's something new in there or whatever, like he normally has to dumb it down for me and explain it to me because he totally understands it, but I'm like, how does that work? So
I love it.
just spending time doing things like that, making memories.
That's beautiful. What about your family, Robin? What's a tradition that you guys have?
Well, I've been sitting here thinking I'm glad those girls went first because
She keeps asking me first.
Because you guys phoned in, so you get a little time to think about it.
yeah, I can't say that there's something formal that we do, but I guess we're creatures of habit around here. So, like my side of the family, we do Thanksgiving, and we used to either go to my grandmother's or my mama's because we're double cousins. So there's not a whole lot to pick from. We don't have a whole lot of big families to go.
I get that.
And so me and my other cousins and my sister, we've started rotating houses now for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We try to have the same foods, and we all get assigned the same thing to bring. I have tried to master grandmother's cornbread. I use her pan every year, hoping that maybe some of her seasoning will rub off on it. I've tried to master her corn, and I think I successfully did it with the help of our friend Melissa last year because I had hers one, I don't know, was it Christmas or New Year's or something? I don't know. So last summer she come over and helped me put up corn, and I ate some of it Thanksgiving. I'm like, I think we've got it. I think this is it.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and that was something I got from my mom. Yeah. So she shared with me, and that's one thing that my mom and I are similar. We are not like super fine cooks. We can cook. And we can clean, but it's really not our favorite thing to do, But the other thing I've done for my kids is Christmas Day. I don't care how old they are; they'll always have a stocking here at the house. And I usually do breakfast or brunch, just about 10 o'clock usually, so that the grandparents can make their rounds to see the other grandkids and what Santa came. But then I usually cook breakfast here, and it's a lot of sausage and bacon, and homemade biscuit and homemade gravy.
Wow.
And she does a good job at it all too. Every so often they turn out like baseballs, but for the most part they're pretty good. But that's probably our biggest traditions. When you just don't have a huge family, we see each other quite a bit during the year, so it's pretty good. Now, of course, it's quite a bit larger, but they don't get together like others do. But again, we still see them a lot too.
Yeah, that's good. That's amazing. Melissa, when you look at it, what is a tradition that you have with your family?
We didn't really have any traditions that other than getting together for to eat lunch or dinner for Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatnot. When I was growing up, we were very less fortunate. My dad was sick. He had worked in the coal mines, and then he got sick, and so my mom was trying to do everything, so we didn't really celebrate birthdays or any of that. So I tried to do that more with Colton, so making birthdays a big deal and whatnot. But one thing my mom did that I will never do is she always fixed a big Sunday dinner.
Yeah, she did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like picnic ham and a roast and a table full of vegetables that were from the garden, all year round. But yeah, I don't see myself doing that. I mean, I cook and I like to, but not like my mom did.
I don't know, Melissa. That is a running joke in our family. Is Melissa has the ability to do all that cooking like her mother. I mean, Melissa makes that corn that Robin's talking about, and it is straight up out of our grandmother, Mom Mary's playbook. And that goes back, what, 3 generations?
Yep.
3 generations. I mean, and that's phenomenal. I mean, to me. But when you're sitting here and you're thinking about the gifts you get, I remember my mother. She never really wanted anything for Mother's Day or her birthday. She always just wanted to spend time with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I think every mother wants. But for the people that are going to get their parents or their mom a gift for Mother's Day, what is something that you think that someone could get their mother that is unique and heartfelt? Does anybody have anything to bring to the table on that?
My love language is acts of service. So I love it. Like my husband, he knows that if he does a project for me, he is golden. I mean, he is golden. So anytime they do that, we're not a big gift giving family. I mean, of course we do some here now with Collins. I'm turning into a gift giving grandmother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But we weren't really big on gifts. We were more on time and together. I mean, the boys played baseball. My husband always played catch. I mean, we were always together doing that kind of stuff. So our biggest gift was time and experiences. So we weren't really big on gifts. And that's what I like. I would much rather them just spend time with me. I don't need a gift. Just come on over and see me. And so
I love that. What about Vicky? What was something that you could do for her on Mother's Day that she just loved?
I am such an awesome gift giver.
You are.
It's a running joke in my family that every year at Christmas I try to outdo everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to hear it too. I want the affirmation.
Can you write a book on that? Because I'm terrible.
Honestly, you know what the trick is? I buy them what I would want myself.
Oh, there you go.
And usually it's terrible. It's also a joke in the family that when I buy Christmas presents, I usually buy one for myself as well. And I say Merry Christmas, Megan. But as far as like Mother's Day, like I loved spoiling my mom, and she never expected it, but it would always be, I would get things for her that I knew she wouldn't buy for herself.
Perfect. That's it.
Things like that it would be a splurge, and that she, you know, as a mother, like back to what you said with the selflessness, you know, if she had extra money, she wanted to get us something. Mm-hmm. You know, she was always surprising us, and you know, she loved to craft, Gina. My God. Yes. We'd find stuff in her trunk, and we'd be like, "Where are you taking that?" And she's like, "To my antique booth." And I'm like, "Yeah, could I have that?" And she'd say, "Well, duh." So, you know, I was looking at a piece that's hanging on my wall last night that I stole from her trunk. I mean, she knew I was stealing it. I seen it and I wanted it. And she gave it to me. But yeah, I love just surprising her because she's like the best, always had the best reaction. Yes. To gifts. She loved gifts. That's perfect. And my dad's always been a great gift giver and surpriser. We like surprises. But yeah, Mother's Day, Father's Day, like it is about the time. Yeah. But I with me being a gift giver, I was like biting at the bit to let her open my gift because I'm like, I can't wait to see what you think. You know?
I love it. What about you, Brandy?
Tom, because I just feel like I don't get to see him now that he's, you know, off at grad school near as much as I want. Because during the summer, he only gets to come in for a couple of weeks, and then he's got to go back up there, do research, stuff like that. So I only get to see him a little bit here and there. So,
all right. Perfect. What about you, Robin?
Well, I'm kind of like Megan. I try to get Mom things that she wouldn't ordinarily get herself, you know, and sometimes it's useful things, like I might get her a gift card to get her car washed, you know, by some of our professionals here in town. Or, you know, she's not a big flower person, but maybe some kind of decorator to put in her yard or something like that. Although she just wants to spend time. She doesn't care if we go out to eat or if we cook for. Just getting all of us together in one place is a feat in itself, and so she enjoys that time. And actually, my sister called while we've been on here today. I'm sure she's trying to plan something for her. So, in good Robin fashion, we're going to come sliding in there right there at the last minute.
I love it. I love it. So, Melissa, when it comes to Mother's Day, are you a fan of the gift or are you a fan of spending time together?
I'm a fan of spending time together. And probably the majority of the last 10 years have been spent with Colton at a racetrack. And this year will be no different.
And can I just interrupt you for a minute? Can I just interrupt you? I just want to say that I find it, I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but the amount of time, Melissa, that you spend with your son and your husband, to me, is amazing. I mean, this family, they travel together, they work together, they play together. I mean, it is the ultimate bonded family. And I've just got to take a moment here on this Mother's Day special and tell you from an outsider's point of view how much I admire you and your family for the amount of time you spend, because I think so many families do not do that anymore. And so I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just
That's okay. No problem. I appreciate that. We do spend a lot of time together. And I guess Colton, he was around adults so much, being the only child, and closer friends not having children. So he didn't really know he was a kid, I don't think. And so he's just grown to enjoy the things that we've done. But for the 10 years, I do have a love-hate relationship with motocross simply because of the injuries that he has sustained. But the amount of time that we have spent together in a camper in a field is priceless.
Yes.
We have made a lot of memories and just spent a lot of time in the vehicle to and from the racetrack, and then at the racetrack too. And so I wouldn't take that back for anything. I mean, it has been wonderful. We all love to go boating, so we boat together. Craig and I have liked playing golf. Now Colton has developed an interest in it, so we golf together. So there's a lot of things we do spend a lot of time together, and that's what I enjoy the most.
Absolutely. And I think that that's the thing, is when you spend time with your loved ones and you make memories, those are the gifts that can never be bought. They're priceless. They are absolutely priceless. So what I want to ask of each one of you, one more thing, is if you have any special memory, any piece of advice, anything that you want to share today before we close up with our audience about being a mom, about your mother, anything at all, anything come to mind. Vicki, do you have anything you would like to share?
I love my mother. She lives in Wisconsin with my sister, so I don't get to see her a lot. And if she sees this podcast, Mom, I love you. A lot of people know my mom because she was around here for a little while. So as far as my being a mother, my greatest joy was being a mother. My next greatest joy is becoming a grandmother. And I'll try not to cry, because there is something about watching your child become a dad or a mom. I mean, of either side. So, sorry, but
it's okay.
Chewy. I mean, she's 4 days old now. She was born on Thursday. So, God, the amount of love that you have. But it started with our boys and our close bond, and raising them together. And it helps that I had equal partner with Kevin. I know in some divorced families and stuff, or somebody single families, they don't get that special. So we do have a very special bond, but them being raised, we're all close. And then watching him become a mom or a dad, I'm sorry, me a mom, him a dad. But anyway, it's just been amazing. I couldn't ask for better kids. I couldn't ask for a better daughter-in-law, and I couldn't ask for a better grandbaby. So I'm extremely blessed. So
I love it.
Yep.
Thank you, Vicki.
It's going to be a great Mother's Day.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much. All right, here we go, Megan. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
You ready? No.
I can't be the only one that cried. So.
I'll try not to. So the one thing that hit home, so close to home, when we lost Mom was, with me travel nursing, she would come midway between each assignment, so I didn't have to go 3 months without seeing her. I feel sorry for Dad because he didn't get that luxury. It was just her. But I would tell her sometimes, like if it was Alaska or Maine, somewhere he would want to go, it was our thing. And she would get upset. And I'd say, now, Mama, Dad is allowed on every single trip you are. And she's like, well, I guess, and it wasn't that she didn't want him there. It was just our thing. And so when we lost Mom, my dad was retired for 2 days. And he said, you've always said one thing. Because if anybody knows my dad, and I know you do, Gina, he is very smart financially. So he has been on us kids about being smart with our money and savings and retirement plans and all that stuff. But when we lost Mom, he said, something really resonated with me about how you've told me for years there's got to be a balance, a balance between work and a balance between play. And, I got to take my mom to the Grand Canyon for the first time. I can still remember her facial expression. I've got it filmed. I took her to Las Vegas and we gambled for a little bit. It was not fun for me. I spent $25 and I was like, can we go? But my dad told me, he said, had it not been all the things you got to take her to do that we planned on doing together, I'd be in a different situation now. And he said, life is so short, and I think we get so wrapped up in what society wants us to do. Raise your kids, get married, have your family, work as hard as you can, save, retire, and then you can go enjoy life. As far as traveling, as far as spending family time together. And, so I'm constantly telling people I work with, when I talk about trips I've been on or whatever, they're like, yeah, one day. And I'm like, don't put it off, because we thought we had until she was 80.
That's right.
We don't know when our last day is. So go do what you've wanted to always do, and do it with the people you love, because like you said, there is no amount of money that could replace what I have.
That's right.
And I hate it for my siblings because they weren't there. Mm-hmm. And, but I'm thankful, and I feel very, very blessed.
That's great. I love it. And I'm just so happy that you came on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am
really
so tickled about that. Brandy, tell us something that you want to say or add before we close out today.
We know tomorrow's not promised. Give those hugs. Say I love you. And, I've always had this thing, no matter how old you are, how busy you are, if you're on a diet or not, if it's your birthday, you're getting a cake.
Yeah, don't be crazy.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, just make sure, you don't leave anything left unsaid or anything,
Yep, that's a good one. I like it. Robin, what do you have that you want to round this out with?
Well, number one, that mama bird that's behind you is not happy with
No.
you.
She's She's crashing.
Oh my gosh, it's a robin.
Yeah, she is crashing our party. Or we're crashing hers, maybe.
No lie, that's the bird I associate with my mother.
Is it?
It's always in when I open my windows all
You just
week
gave me
long.
goosebumps.
There's been a robin, and yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She's a
That's
being.
great.
All right. So, Robin, what do you got that you would like to share?
Well, I just want to reiterate too a couple of things about that they've already mentioned, and it's something that I've told to my kids about. You work hard, you play hard, and tomorrow is not promised. You need to know where your eternity is going to be, and you need to know that you're not going to have they're not going to be around forever. So make sure you tell them you love them every day. And you all know I'm not a hugger. I have been very prickly little pear, but I have hugged more people in the last year because you just never know. You just never know. And so that's probably my biggest thing is you just don't have tomorrow. So live it like it's your last day every day, and wake up with a grateful heart full of gratitude and live it like there's no tomorrow.
Amen.
And I love my friends who are stuck in a weird place right now, like Melissa and another one of my friends who have kids and it's Mother's Day and they want to enjoy being a mom, but there's still a little piece of them missing.
Yep.
And I want to love them. I want to love them every day.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful. Melissa, what is your words that you have to round this out? Melissa?
Like they all said, and going back on what Robin said, we actually have it in our camper. Up there, as you walk in, it's one of the first things you'll see is the wording that says "Work hard, play hard."
That's right.
And
It's awesome.
that's what we have done. I mean, that's why we've been able to do the things that we've done and continue to do, is because both of our parents instilled in us that if you want something, you have to work for it. Nothing's going to come free.
Yep.
And so, and we have instilled that in Colton. And as you all know, he is an extremely hard worker.
Yep.
He's not your average 20-year-old.
No.
He's constantly busy doing something. And whether it's at work at the station or it's mowing yards, it's weed eating, working on his dirt bike. Now he has taken on doing some powder coating. I mean, he's just a worker. And so, and that's my biggest thing is if you want something, it's achievable. You just have to work for it.
Yeah.
And never take your moments for granted. And my biggest blessing in life is being Colton's mom, because I didn't know if that was going to happen. I went into labor at 19 weeks and went in the hospital at 26 weeks and stayed until I had him at 32 weeks. And but God blessed me with him. And Robin knows I did everything I possibly could to protect that child. And a little too much when he was little. She was like, just bring him down here and let him play in some cow poop.
For the
I did,
immunity.
because he stayed sick all the time because I sheltered him and tried to protect him too much. Let kids be kids. I realize that now. And then
And
after
now he
trying to
races motocross. I mean,
yes, exactly. This kid is he's given me every gray hair I have because here he was preemie and I tried to protect him, and then what does he choose to do? Motocross. I'm like, dude, you're hard on me.
It was
But,
Robin's cow poop. That's
yeah. He's really good. I'm just very blessed to have Colton and to be his mom, and I'm thankful that God chose me to be his mom.
That was beautifully said. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming on the show today and just sharing a little bit about your journey as a mother as a child with a very, and I'm going to say this, it was a very special bond that you had with your mother.
It was.
And I could only pray that more people could have a bond with their mother the way you had.
Very blessed.
You're very blessed.
Very blessed.
Very blessed. And I just want to thank each and every one of you today for tuning into our show. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful Mother's Day. And please take the time to share time with the people that you love and hold dear. And share this podcast with your mom. Share it with your children. Everybody have a blessed week, and we love you. Thank you so much.